Na'Vi are out. VG Gaming move forward. What an end to the game. They gave it their all, Na'Vi, but at the end of the day, too many mistakes. VG Gaming, the superior fight. And as farmed as Havos was, it wasn't enough to stand up against both the SF and the Luna of VG.
What an absolutely crazy ending to that game. I cannot believe how well Na'Vi actually ended up holding that, but they just run out of heroes in the end.
Oh, there's so much to talk about that game, so we're going to head over to the analysts to see exactly what they want to talk about. But what a performance from VG. What a performance.
Well, the congratulations are to VG. Na'Vi do leave the arena at the very first attempt. What a sad way to see the former champions go out of the tournament, but my word, our hearts were in our hands at the end of that game. It was almost the impossible Na'Vi story yet again right at the end of the match, Malini.
Wow.
Yeah, what do you say?
What do you say?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the most important thing I think about that game is we got to see both teams play like the champions they are.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a heck of a show. It was, you know, as much as we've seen in the group stages in this tournament already, that was the game of the tournament for me, just in terms of the emotional investment that I had in that game. And, you know, I know there are a whole lot of people out there. Na'Vi is the brand in Dota 2. They're the winningest team in terms of event wins all time. And, you know, they're part of the reason for me that I started playing Dota. And I think there are a lot of people out there in the world that can say that. So, you know, I have a heavy heart right now, but I think it's only appropriate that we say for Dendi what we say for the king of Dota 2, what they used to say for the king of rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Dendi has left the building.
Yeah.
What a game. It was, for me, a combination of heavy fight, CAS Dota, but at the same time also strategy coming in from VG Gaming. I actually think VG Gaming kind of beat Na'Vi at their own game. At least that's what it felt like. Fighting from the very start, making sure super aggressive, didn't give anybody a time to farm and actually catch up until Suneko, of course, reached level 6, and he made sure that there was some space for Havos' anti-mage, but overall, I think VG Gaming just played that really well.
And welcome to the desk, by the way,
you.
Shiva, because, you know, it's such a crazy end to that match. We didn't even have time to reintroduce Alan and Shiva for the first time. It's great to have you back on here.
Thank you.
We do have the end of the game, and I think it's probably a fitting way to close out the game with the final shots of Na'Vi's TI5. It isn't the TI5 that either they or their fans would want, and it ends up with a very small but important mistake.
This is the first time I think I've seen Na'Vi like buckle under pressure. First with the failed relocate by Suneko to save anti-mage, and then Havos is under pressure, he gets sheeped up, and then art style Shallow Graves himself.
Poor Artstyle, by the way. He ended 0-7-0 in that match.
Yeah.
Either way, they would have lost this one.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it becomes almost incidental in a way, but
honestly, they played great just to extend it.
Yeah, but it's a good summary of why they didn't go any further in this tournament at the end of that match. It's sort of like well, there's the signpost for it, I suppose. I was quite mean to them before the game and said that, you know, they've been surprisingly bad. There's no escaping the fact that they were the champions. You've said they're the pin-up poster boys of Dota 2. And they're going home in the bottom 4. You can't escape that.
Right. No, there's no getting around that. I mean, there are a lot of fans today, a lot of Dota 2 fans that are very disappointed. I mean, you could hear that arena. You could hear that crowd getting behind Na'Vi, and there's a reason for that. And I really do believe that Na'Vi will still be a presence in this scene for as long as there is Dota 2. And I thought Sin did a great job in that match framing the action, talking about the window that Na'Vi had, and I thought they made some great plays to extend that window. I thought there were some insane relocate plays to take that bottom racks to really maximize Na'Vi's window in that game. But at the end of the day, VG Gaming rolled the dice and drafted a super greedy lineup. And Na'Vi just wasn't able to punish them enough. At the end of the game, when you have a Shadow Fiend, when you have a How Luna, when you have a Queen of Ice, Queen of Pain that have all been farming, you're not going to beat that in the late game. And I think Seb was dead on point.
Yeah. Seb, your final thoughts on the game as we get ready to move on to Game 3?
To me, it felt like they had no game plan, because obviously the game plan early on is dodge fights, get the anti-mage to farm. You have a lineup where you have, with Dazzle Tusk, those heroes, they don't do damage. They just help someone to actually do better in the team fights, and that someone was the anti-mage, because Lina's going to use the ulti, and that's pretty much it, at least for the first opening. And that anti-mage, he had a window at some point. I don't really like the way he itemized, but that's personal. But they wanted a super battle-oriented anti-mage, that goes for MKB when they get the butterflies, goes for the basher. And there was this very moment where he got caught, and Soneko was behind him, and he could relocate him. And that was actually the play, I guess, because Kovos was farming aggressively, but that's what he needed to do the whole game, right? That's how they got a Rax. Yeah. And then he did not relocate him for a reason or another. I don't know what happened. And then he was on CD buyback when he was supposed to be aggressive, and he couldn't. And that's, to me, that was the turning point of the game, because later on in the game, it was harder for him to get anything done, honestly. Yeah. But that was the one they could have won it.
We've spoken a lot about Na'Vi, but Ben, credit to VG as well. They played better than they've played so far at TI5. Is this maybe a sign of things to come?
Yeah, I think they were actually very prepared for the way Na'Vi played. Like, Dandy was sitting in the bottom right side of the map for probably a good 5 to 10 minutes, and I don't think they ever got caught out by him. And yeah, they just played very solidly. They controlled Roshan very well, and it's not the VG that we knew 5 months ago, but it's a step in the right direction.
Sure. Okay. We are going to move on to Virtus Pro versus Fnatic. Just a very quick update for you at home as well. We haven't mentioned the fact that the teams have gone through the lower bracket, obviously, from losing earlier on. Cloud9, as if they were going to make their lives any harder, now face VG in the next match in the lower bracket, which is a kind of revengey kind of match. And it would have been the same anyway, because it would have been Na'Vi, who they knocked out previously last year. So that's kind of weird for C9. They're going to have pretty much the same route through the lower bracket. And Empire will take on MVP Phoenix, and that'll also be a very interesting game as well. We are going to move on now, and it is Virtus Pro, the first team we're going to look at. And also, we're going to take particular attention to someone who's playing his first ever international, but he also sets a record because he's the first ever Belarusian right here at Key Arena.
When I was a child, like 10 years old or something like that, I hurt my knee and I started to play computer. I started with Quake, Counter-Strike, Half-Life probably, and then some friends showed me Dota. Usually when people have friends, they go out, spend some time with them, but most of the time I speak with my friends through the internet, and my parents didn't understand that at all. They tried to get me out, like go to some camps, but I was okay with playing Dota. When I started playing professionally, I think that my mother supports me. Sometimes my mother calling me and saying something like, Artyom, I found a photo where you're staying with some cup. What's this story is? And she will never understand it, but she's doing it because I'm her son. So after TI qualifiers, we lost them, and Na'Vi invited me to be their captain, and it was a good experience, but everything wasn't good. It not means that people in Na'Vi was bad or something like that. I just can't be their captain because we are totally different. I can be Virtus Pro captain because they understand what I'm trying to do. They say, Artyom, do what you want. We will try to help you as much as possible. And even if captain wrongs, he will take his experience, and everyone will take this experience. This is the best way to grow up as a team. If I want to be the best, I must improve myself as much as possible and become not only a good player and become a good person, because Dota is not only about playing Dota, it's even more about communication. When I started playing Dota, it was just a little computer club, and now when I looking back, I'm really happy and feel proud of myself because now I'm traveling through the world and meet nice people. This has changed my life, really changed my life.
There they are then, your first team of our third match in the lower bracket. Virtus Pro and their lineup and their story behind the first ever Belarus player to play in the international. He's a proud man leading his team out into the Key Arena any moment now. They go head to head with another team who are desperate to prove the doubters wrong as Virtus.pro get ready to come out. And Fnatic are there as well. Fnatic, of course, have had a little bit of history under a number of different names throughout the international history, none more so than the boys in orange. They're in orange once more, but now in the colours of Fnatic. And to catch up with all of the things that have been happening to them before they headed into the international, here's Ohio.
How does it feel to be representing Malaysia? You have to have a lot of pride for your country.
This is my third year, TI, my third TI, and still will be a little bit nervous fight against top team in the world.
TI3 was a really interesting time for you when you were playing with Orange. A lot of people considered you one of the best players there, one of the most influential players there.
Yeah, thank you.
Were you aware of, did you know that people were saying that about you?
I just know about it when I'm back to Malaysia. A lot of Malaysian fans and Southeast Asia fans, they congratulate us and they also praise me and I play very well.
How do you feel about your chances this year with this team?
Recently, our practice is not that good, but I think we still have a chance to proceed to the top 8 first. And if we can do pretty well in every games, I think we still have a chance to get inside the top 4.
What's the hardest thing that you're working through as a team right now?
Our play style is not going to work together right now. We are just a little bit split. That means we just play our own style, but not a team style. That means we need to fix it faster before the game starts.